Self-discipline can be considered to be a type of selective training. This is a training that creates new habits of thought, new actions, and speech patterns, which improve self and aid in reaching goals. Self-discipline can also be task-oriented. It can be selective. It can be very, very positive. View self-discipline as that positive effort rather than one of denial. We want to look and see how we can create a life of self-discipline. First, simply schedule a small task for any given time of the day and practice delaying for that. Schedule that task in the morning and maybe once in the evening. Your task should not take more than 15 minutes, and then wait for that exact scheduled time. If needs be, set a timer on your cell phone. And then when the scheduled time is due, start your task immediately and stick to your schedule for at least 2 months. There are some advantages to this because scheduling helps to focus to your priorities. And by focusing on starting tasks rather than completing them, you avoid that procrastination part. You can also hold to its time. You can avoid by acting on that impulse and track your progress. At the end of the time allotment, make sure that you record what you've accomplished and what you've built over time. The advantage is that by building a record, you're going to be able to track how much time tasks take, but also you're going to see a productive life. And then if you have some surplus time because a task takes less time than you thought, you're going to be able to fill that time with smaller tasks. Be sure that you make notes to yourselves. Harness that power of routine. Routine is very, very positive. So instead of devoting a lot of hours every day to one thing and then on another day to another day, instead allocate specific time periods each day of the week for a task. Hold firm and don't set a goal other than that time allocation. Simply set your habit of routine and then apply this technique to homework, to projects, to household objects, and you're going to be on your way to getting things done. The advantage is when you're working on small tasks in small increments, not all at once, you feel like you've really accomplished something, and you're going to really find a way to develop a habit, and then the habit starts to do a job for you without you having to focus on it. You can do this with your work day and with your studies. When you first begin your day, or you're going to work, or maybe you're looking at what needs to be done around your household or for your family, take a few minutes and write down on a piece of paper what you want to accomplish for that day. Prioritize your list and immediately start working on the most important one. Try it for a few days and see if your habit works for you. Habits, remember, they form over time. And how much time is really going to depend on you and the habit that you're attempting to create. The advantage is when you have a clear idea as to what you want to achieve for the day at the start, the chances are that you're going to be able to proactively accomplish those tasks. You're going to be able to write and sketch out that day before it starts. Let's look at how we can use time management to really explore and develop that self-discipline. And it can be an overwhelming task, especially when one has many things that need to be done in a very small time. And when you do not have control over your own self, how can you really control your time? Begin with a task-oriented self-discipline and then build from there. As you do this, you're going to see that you have control. You have built more self-discipline. And as you build self-discipline, you build time management. As you build time management, you will see that your self-confidence will increase. Have you ever kept a logbook? Does this seem like a silly thing? But it isn't. Take a few moments. It doesn't have to actually be an actual book. You can write down on a Post-it note, I've done it on Post-it notes before, and record the start and end times of your tasks, and then review feedback on your progress. The advantage is that a logbook or logging your times is a valuable tool to get a better picture over your activities. It shows you what you really do, and you're going to be able then to prioritize and realize what's really important and not important on how you spend your time. Think about it kind of as that time you had to log everything that you ate for a health concern. The same idea. It helps us to realize how we really spend our time. Let's make sure that we don't get discouraged. It is very easy to get discouraged because we feel intimidated and put off by discipline, especially when we don't live up to our own requirements and our own expectations. Remember, it's natural. Just take a break and refresh your challenge. Remember to recommit. Remember to associate a new habit with an old one. It's a trick. So for instance, if you are getting up in the morning and you eat a bowl of cereal, make sure that as you eat the bowl of cereal, you sit down and prioritize your tasks. Now, every time you sit down to eat that bowl of cereal, you're going to think, wow, I need to look at my tasks. The advantage is that association facilitates a natural neural connection. As you do this, make sure that you also look at your progress. Take a moment at the end of each day, maybe as you are just settling in for the night, and make sure that you look at what you're doing. Check off the days that you successfully followed up, that you've done your routine, and if you happen to break it, don't worry, just start over. But the greatest advantage is being able to actually write down and to see how you are changing, and to be able to see how you have been encouraging and developing that self-discipline. By writing it down, you are visualizing it, and it's a reinforcement of the progress that you're creating. Don't forget to search out and to keep some really good role models. Observe people around you in your life, especially those that are positive. Look at those that you find who are successful. And what kind of self-discipline do they use? What are their habits? What helps them to achieve their goals? Why are they so productive? Ask them for advice on what works for them, and ask them what doesn't work for them. As you ponder this, take a moment to list down and to think about which of these you can use in your own desires and your own pursuit of self-discipline. Remember that effective leaders intentionally develop an attribute of discipline. Through strategy, planning, and tracking activities, discipline becomes a strength. Self-discipline is the foundation to achieving goals. Effective leaders are disciplined in their daily and their professional lives.